Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another episode of the Indigo Womb Wisdom podcast. I'm your host and sister friend, Shatia Owsley, and thank you for watching and or listening. So sit back, grab some tea and a notebook, and let's vibe together as we have organic and practical conversations embracing intuitive womb wisdom, spirituality, and a sprinkle of magic to rebel, restore, and radiate overall wellness in our lives. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Indigo Womb Wisdom podcast. I am your host and your sister friend, Shatia Owsley, and today we are joined by a holistic health coach that focuses on integrative and functional medicine to achieve optimal spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, and social well-being. She's meeting you where you are in your healing journey with the resources that you have at your disposal and the environment that you are currently in. She has studied developmental and mental health psychology to deepen her own inner understanding of mind and the body connection. She's also the creator of mindfully crafted herbal and natural remedies to enhance your overall health from the inside out. And she is absolutely obsessed with helping others build the life of health and wellness that they want to achieve. Today, I would like to introduce our guest, the lovely Miss Tamara Moore. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you so much for being here today. It's so good to see you again. And I can't wait for us to chat it up about all of the great things that you are doing. But I always like to start off because I always love to hear how you got started on your journey to wellness.
How I got started. Okay, so for myself personally, it started from a very young age. My mom is a personal trainer. She's always been deep into health and fitness. She's always had us eating tofu and soy milk from the time we were in diapers. So it really started from back there. The journey started with me holistically realizing that my mind, my body, and my spirit were all connected. I would say my last year of college, my mental health was really suffering. I was transitioning from graduating college to moving to a new city. I was in a relationship then, clearly not in a relationship now, but I was depressed. And functionally depressed. So to the point where I really didn't even know that I was depressed. I was just moving through life. But yeah, that's what sparked my journey. Realizing that I was living for other people more than I was living for myself. Getting back into the gym in that season really helped. And really just reconnecting with myself, journaling, becoming more self-aware, and figuring out what I wanted and not what other people wanted from me really sparked that transition in me. And when it sparked in me, I went on a rampage and wanted to help everyone else because it really pointed out to me how important it was to, like they say on the plane, to put your own mask on first before you try to even save the baby that's next to you that can't fend for themselves. Like, if you're gone, who's there to take care of them? You know? So that's really what sparked my journey.
Wow. So you are integrating your physical fitness. So you are a certified personal trainer. You're, adding herbalism into it, and also a mental health counselor. And so those are the things that you were experiencing that started you on this path where you are now helping others through their own healing journey. What did you start with first when you were going through your own process?
I would say it started with getting back into the gym.
Okay.
Weightlifting. That's really my niche. I love lifting weights. I love lifting things that look like it's way too heavy for me to pick up. That's where my heart is.
I love to hear when women talk about lifting weights. because it's an opportunity, and you as a certified personal trainer can debunk myths right here in this moment, where women are like, oh no, I don't want to lift weights, I don't want to be big and bulky and this. But let's dive into some of the benefits of lifting weights and how extremely beneficial lifting weights is for women.
Okay. So because I am a mind, body, spirit individual, let's start with the benefits that most people overlook, and that's the mental benefits. When you lift something that is twice the amount that you would lift throughout the day, first of all, and most importantly, you're overcoming barriers in your mind that you didn't know exist. You look at a 40-pound weight and you're like, there's no possible way I can curl that in your head. So we start out with a 10-pound weight. You can curl that. We move up to a 15. We move up to a 20. Literally 3 weeks later, you're curling a 40-pound weight looking for a 45. It breaks those mental limitations that you've put on yourself that your body doesn't even recognize unless your brain has told you that you can't do it. So that's number one, breaking those mental limitations that we place on ourselves because of society and the laws and the rules that we are subject to because we are earthly beings, but not necessarily subject to because more than we're earthly beings, we are spiritual beings. So that's number one. As far as the actual body is concerned, getting to a more physical, molecular, cellular breakdown of things, when you lift, when your muscles are forced to lift things that are heavier than you're normally used to lifting, it shreds the muscle that exists and rebuilds that myofascial technician that's inside of your muscles by releasing the myosin and the actin that's in your muscles. It also helps to stimulate the blood cells in your body. It helps to release the serotonin, and we'll get into hormones and all that stuff, but it helps to release the serotonin and the cortisol in your body that's necessary for you to function on a daily basis. Building muscle is not necessarily about looking jacked or looking ripped. It has absolutely nothing to do with that, unless you want it to.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can talk about supplements and things like that that will work for you. But if you're lifting for the sole purpose of expanding your body and expanding your mind and being able to, when you're 40, 50 years old, run around with your grandkids and your great grandkids and not have to worry about them visiting you in a hospital, start weightlifting.
So, you talked about some of the benefits of lifting weights. So, let's talk about, what does cardio do for your body and how does it differ from lifting weights?
So, cardiorespiratory health. That's your cardio. That's going to be your high activity, your treadmill, your stair climber. If you've heard of HIIT, that high intensity interval training, those are the things that are going to expand your lung capacity. So that's going to help to elevate your heart rate. We have what's called a resting heart rate. Your resting heart rate is where your body is when it's completely at rest. Not necessarily sleeping, but you're just sitting and you're relaxed, and that's where your heart rate lies. When your heart rate, your resting heart rate is elevated naturally, that's what's going to help to burn fat. That's what's going to help to keep your hormones regulated. That's what's going to help you to, when it's time for you to fall asleep, be able to take those deep breaths and reset that body into that naturally calibrated sleep rest that we need for our bodies, that restful sleep. So that's the first and the primary thing. Also, just being able to take a deep breath. There are so many people who are deconditioned and live in a deconditioned state that we take these shallow breaths, not realizing that there's lungs go all the way down to your diaphragm. When your breath stops here, you are doing your body a severe disservice. That's why breath work is so important as well. So when you incorporate breathing at such a high rate of intensity, that helps to not only burn fat, not only to push past those limits in your mind, but it is literally resetting your body and oxygenating your blood cells to the point where you are allowing that blood flow throughout your body optimally, essentially, without the blockages, without having to worry about clogged arteries and all of those things that we deal with and face on the daily basis, because that is the molecular genetic makeup of our body. So having cardio is essential to stimulate those muscles and get the blood pumping and flowing, so that way when you do go into weightlifting, your muscles have the ability to grow and expand fully. It helps to stretch out the muscle, so that way before you start lifting, your muscles are active and you're not starting from a place of cold muscles, because that's where muscle tears happen, that's where strains happen and things like that. So they go hand in hand. One is getting your blood circulating, getting your blood pumping, getting your body ready to do something that is going to be a strenuous activity. And then adding that strenuous activity behind it, that weightlifting behind it, it expands those muscles in a way and moves your blood in your body in a way that gives it that optimal strength, health, fitness, and wellness that we're really looking for as human beings.
Yeah. I love that you connect all three. And we live in a society where we compartmentalize and we don't really discuss how everything is interconnected, not only within our bodies, so our mind, our bodies, and our spirits. And so I love that you stress the importance that it is a mind, body, spirit connection. What have you seen in the clients that you work with when you help them to shift their mindset so that they start to see that it's all connected and they are not individualized containers?
So I think the best really comparison that I can make with that is, think of like wiring and circuitry. Everything is connected, whether it's a blue wire, a red wire, a green wire, a yellow wire. They're all supporting this one object to make it function. If you cut one of those wires, the product might still function, but it's not going to function to the full capacity of what it was created for. That is the same thing that happens with us. When we are not sleeping our 7 to 8 hours, because let's start with the basics. When we are not sleeping 7 to 8 hours and getting restful sleep, our body is automatically thrown off. We're automatically in a mental fog. We start out the day groggy. And then let's say you're running late for work and you don't eat breakfast. Strike two. Now, not only are you tired, now your body is pulling from energy that was yesterday's energy that you may or may not even have in your supply. So now it's pulling from stored energy, that glycogen that's built up in your blood. And those processes require a certain amount of glucose, which brings us to things like diabetes, brings us to things like insulin resistance, and those chronic things that we face on severe levels. So starting out with not even including exercise, not even including proper nutrition, just eating at the basic level, putting something in your body, shifting your mindset to think about, okay, let me get to bed at a decent hour so that I can wake up and have time to have a slow morning. Maybe journal in the morning. Maybe wake up and drink some water, have some tea, think about what you're going to do throughout the day. Those things go such a long way. And we often forget because we're on such a circuitry wired type of timing. We're used to getting up and doing the same things over and over and over again. It's our circadian rhythm. Being able to go in and change that circadian rhythm at one point and have that affect everything else and change the entire trajectory of our health and wellness, that is where I want my clients to be. To start out at their biggest pain point, finding what their biggest pain point is and tweaking just that little thing that changes everything. So on top of sleep, we also focus on nutrition. They say abs are made in the kitchen. I agree. But what's also made in the kitchen is hormonal balance. It is lowering our cortisol levels, which is our stress hormone. It is effectively hitting the dopamine levels that we need and not scrolling social media to get those dopamine hits. That's the foundation of Dear Self Wellness, is hitting those nutrition goals, adding colorful fruits and vegetables into your diet. Eating, if you do eat meat, I don't, I'm pescatarian, but if you do eat meat, getting the proper protein and nutrients from those animal products that you're eating. Getting to know what your body is sensitive to. Because not everything that you're putting in your body are things that your body likes to eat. Being mindful while you're eating, like, oh, how did that make me feel? Did that give me energy? Did it make me feel groggy? Did it make me feel foggy? Did it give me a stomach ache? Those are the things that we don't really think about, because while we're eating, we're watching TV, or while we're eating, we're thinking about whatever we have to do next, or we're eating just because we know that we need to eat throughout the day and not even necessarily because we're hungry. Being mindful about those things and actually thinking about the process of how food is being made and taking the time to make it ourselves, because at this rate, we're getting DoorDash and Uber Eats and going through the drive-through, and we have no idea what's even in our food. So being mindful at that level about what's going into our body, because what goes into our body is what comes out. The energy that you put in is the energy that comes out. So if you're putting in groggy energy, guess what kind of energy is going to come out? Groggy energy. I have seen from my clients who have come to me with depression, have come to me with anxiety, have come to me with grief that hasn't been processed, with just everything on a mental level that we deal with on the daily as human beings. And being able to tweak those things from a perspective of spiritually reading the Bible, journaling, prayer, meditation, breath work, and building on that foundation into our nutrition and into our sleep patterns and our sleep cycles, into self-care, and really just stopping for a second and taking a breath and checking in with yourself. Have I drank enough water today? Have I considered that I might be tired and I might need to give myself a little 5-minute break? Have I considered that I've been sitting down on this laptop for 2 hours and I might need to get up and walk around because my leg fell asleep and I didn't even notice? Those things that we just push through because we think that's what we're supposed to do, quote unquote. The only things in life that we are supposed to do is take care of ourselves. And that is the thing that we fail to do day in and day out. So that's really what I focus on with my clients. Self-care, healthcare, wellness is essentially just taking the time to say, hey self, are you okay? That's it. Out of 10, you'll realize the answer is no. And then we can dive into why the answer is no.
Yeah. You made so many just major and important points, because I think it's important for people to hear, especially as they start on their healing journey that there are different parts of the journey, but they all work together. And so one of the things that you really touched on, especially when working out and, on the fitness part of the healing journey, right, is the nutrition part of it. Everything doesn't work for everybody. And so, how, for people who are trying to figure out what works for their body and what path they should take, what are some steps to help them to determine how to get the appropriate nutrients for their body?
Say start with the things that you eat on the daily basis. Keep a food journal. That's one thing that I recommend that my clients do right away. With the foods that they are currently eating, with the foods that you are currently eating, what you eat normally. So for me, I eat a lot of fish. I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. I eat a lot of grains, a lot of rice. If you do eat animal products, if you eat steak, if you eat chicken, if you eat beef, if you eat turkey, keep a journal. When you eat those things, write down specifically what you ate, how much you ate, how it was prepared, and how it made your body feel. We won't know what works for you until we know what works well with you. So if you're eating beef and pork and chicken and your levels of function and your health is great and you're going to the gym and you have all the energy and you're able to get up early in the morning and, go about your day with no brain fog, then by all means, eat the beef, the chicken, and the pork. For me personally, my stomach in and of itself couldn't handle that heavy meats. And I never really ate heavy meats like that as a kid. There would be a freezer full of chicken and I would get a bowl of cereal. Like that's just who I've always been. So if those are things that you enjoy eating, eat them. I personally didn't enjoy eating them, so I don't eat them. Eat what you like. Eat what works for your body. That's the foundation. And then we can build around that and supplement what nutrients we need from certain food groups and certain fruits and vegetables that we need. As a basic level of nutrition, you want to hit proteins, healthy fats, calories, and carbohydrates. Those are your basic elements of nutrition. And of course, water. Water is absolutely essential. If you're not drinking enough water, then we need to start there. Let's just make that the foundation. Drink water. We can build everything else on top of that, but if you're not drinking water, there is really nothing that the food can do for you.
And so what, in your expertise, what's your rule of thumb for your clients on how much water they should be drinking?
General rule of thumb for me with my clients on water: don't let your mouth get dry. That's the general rule of thumb. Now, if we're actively considering how much water and are being mindful of how much water, we should be optimally drinking 6 to 8 liters of water every 4 to 6 hours, which equals up to just about half of your body weight. So neither one of those things are necessarily wrong. It's just that there's different measurements that are being taken. So for a particular person that is, let's say, 180 pounds, drinking 90 pounds of water sounds really impossible. Mm-hmm. So we break that down into 6 to 8 liters of water every few hours. And that's where we get these jugs from. So I always encourage my clients to get, the jugs that tell you how many liters of water and where you should be at certain times of the day. A person who, like how I used to be, and you would go throughout your day and you'd be so focused on what you were doing that you'd forget to eat, you forget to drink water, and all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, oh, why does my head hurt? Get yourself a bottle. Calculate how much water you're drinking throughout the day and finish that bottle. Start there. When your body starts to adjust to drinking that level of water throughout the day, you'll realize, okay, I've been dehydrated for the majority of my life. And now you can start to increase those levels or even decrease those levels if that's not where you feel the most comfortable. Water weight is a thing. So drinking your weight in water for some people, it's going to make you go to the bathroom a lot more. So that's another thing you're going to have to be mindful of, because if you're driving to work and you have a hour commute or something like that, you didn't use the bathroom before you left, you're going to have to stop. Things like that, it's mindfulness. It's a mindfulness thing. Understanding the science is one. Understanding how the science works for you, that's the most important thing. So I would say start with that 6 to 8 liters of water every couple hours. Get yourself that jug, and then you can change your levels from there. But that's where I always start with my clients. And when they realize that they've been dehydrated and how much even just hydrated cells changes how your body works, it's amazing. How we were created as human beings is absolutely incredible. And even when you look at it as such, and we take away the mundanity of being a human being, living a human existence every single day, and we really consider the fact that we have blood that pumps through our veins, we have cells and molecules that make up our bodies, being mindful, being cognizant of those things, that the water that's in our blood is what's carrying the nutrients to different parts of our body, and that's why essentially we need the water. Being mindful of things like that will actually help you to consume more water. Because if you think of it as, if I don't drink enough water, my nutrients aren't moving, my blood is not flowing, I'm not going to be able to carry the food that I'm eating throughout my body. People who don't use the bathroom as far as bowel movements on a daily basis at least once, if that does not scare you, I'm scared for you. Because you're not intaking enough water that's moving your bowels through your body and allowing you to release toxins, because that's what secretion is. When you sweat, when you're urinating, when you're defecating, those are releasing toxins from your body. So if you're not doing that at least once a day, you have a lot of toxic backup and toxic waste still inside of your body, which is posing a lot more health risk than anything else. Drinking water is the foundation and the basic building block of life. Our body is made up of 70 to 80% water. We need to be replenishing that water on a daily basis. So that's essentially why water is the
The
most
foundation.
fundamental. Absolutely, absolutely the foundation. And not only drink your water, but eat your water as well.
So
There
from
are
your fruits and your
fruits,
veggies.
yes, there are fruits and vegetables that are naturally hydrating for our body and for our cells. Tomatoes, cucumbers, watermelon, strawberries, citrus fruits, oranges. Those are foods that are also going to hydrate your body and hydrate your cells. So eating and drinking your water are essential. Yes.
We're also starting to see even more with social media, an increase in supplements and what supplements can do for your body. One of the supplements that I would like to talk is creatine. How creatine can affect your body, what are the benefits of creatine, how we should use it.
Creatine is a protein. It is a building block protein that, when taken in the proper form and in the proper context, can do all of those things that you just said. It can increase our muscles. It can give us the booty and the just the physique that we want. With that being said, if you are not doing the basics, drinking water, properly nurturing your body with food, Supplementing creatine is not going to do anything for you except add protein to your blood. Essentially, what that does is give your body more work to do. And if you're not using that work wisely, i.e., exercise, supporting it with the proper nutrients that are going to carry it to the correct places in your body, it's building up in your cells and it's not going to be distributed the way that you want it to be distributed. There is really no such thing as consuming too much protein. So creatine will not necessarily harm you in a sense of you're taking it when you're not supposed to, but it won't give you the results that you're looking for if you're not supporting your supplementation, because it is a supplement, which means that it's adding to the basic nutritional value that you already are providing for yourself. If you are utilizing creatine as your protein and not eating enough protein in your diet already, it's not going to do anything for you because you're not enhancing your protein intake. You're just hitting your goal for protein. And maybe not even hitting your goal for protein, because depending on how much you've already had or how much your body is used to eating, you might just be giving it the daily value that it needs. I always recommend, when trying to supplement something, anything new into your diet or into your lifestyle, to check with your physician first, your primary care doctor. If it's, hopefully it's someone you trust, if it's your primary care doctor, they should be able to guide you in those things. I have found that a lot of times, because we are so Western medicine oriented in America, and these new things that we're discovering and finding out about our health and about our wellness, and more Eastern medicine practices, as in like eating properly, our food is medicine, and things of that nature. Western medicine has not integrated that as effectively into our healthcare system as of yet. It is moving forward. It is moving in that direction. But if you have not found a primary care physician that does have that functional knowledge of nutrition and of supplementing those certain things into your diet for nutrition, do yourself a favor and find you one. Find you a nutritionist, find you a health coach that can assist you in those things, as well as your primary care doctor. But creatine in and of itself, if you are drinking enough water, there we go with the water again. If you are drinking enough water, creatine will help you and support that muscle growth and building that muscle. If you are a person like me who is looking to either cut weight or maintain weight, creatine is going to make you gain weight, because it's gaining muscle, it's building muscle for you. So if you do decide that you want to take creatine and you're seeking also to lose weight, make sure that you're drinking more water than you normally would. And also, green tea is going to be your best friend. Green tea is a natural fat burning herb because of the catechins and everything else that's in it that helps to support that natural fat loss. Hot green tea, not cold green tea. Hot green tea. Let me be more specific about it. Not very hot, warm. Drinking very hot things for our body is not necessarily the best for us, and I won't go too deep into that. But warm green tea, let your tea cool off just a little bit, and having that and creatine and enough water, if you're already doing the basics of nutrition, exercise, they will help you. But supplementing something for the sake of you're not doing everything else that you're supposed to be doing, it's not going to help you in the way that you really want it to help you. So
you are meeting people where they are. So let's just start with your food journal. Let's just start tracking the things that you're eating. Let's increase your water intake. And then another thing that's extremely important that you mentioned was checking in with yourself, taking that pause, taking a breath. How are you breathing? And being extremely intentional about how you are moving. And those three things alone can really start to make a difference in putting people on the path to where it is they want to be and where they want to go. And so I love that for us. I love that for the people who are listening and what you are doing, because you're making it digestible and it's not overwhelming. And so I love that. Before we close out, I would like to know if there's anything else that you would like to leave our listeners with today. What would you like to share with them?
I always want to accentuate my foundation for health and wellness. My foundation for health and wellness is Christ. I believe that when you set a firm foundation, when something or someone in this case that cannot and will not fail, your human failure matters so much less. So, step one, I would say, is consider a source higher than yourself. For me, that is God, that is Christ, that is the Holy Spirit. Find something or someone, hopefully that is yourself, that you want to please above anything else. When you take that into consideration, everything else seems so much less stressful. When you consider, I'm eating this way because I love myself, and not, I'm eating this way because I need to lose weight, it makes so much of a difference. I'm eating this way because I want to be able to take care of my kids for the rest of their lives. I'm eating this way because I want to be able to function on the daily without somebody else having to take care of. Those are the things that, if we consider every single time we want to make a decision that is challenging, or that we want to choose the thing that is less challenging, the thing that we're used to doing, the falling back into the cycle of things that we know aren't going to support our goals. Asking ourselves the very important question of, why am I doing this? And reminding yourself why you're doing it is going to take you so far. You're going to fail, and that's okay. Allowing yourself the opportunity to get back up and fail again, and get back up and fail again, is where you're going to find your stride. You don't start out perfect. You're not going to start out hitting all your goals. You're not going to start out at the top. No one ever does. But implementing those small changes and making them sustainable changes, that's where you're going to find the health and wellness that you're seeking. Trying to change everything all at once is a recipe for staying exactly.
Period.
Yeah.
Facts. From someone at many points in her life who was saying, I'm going to do everything. I'm just going to change everything. And then you be sitting there looking crazy.
Yeah. Yes, believe me, I was that person too. I understand, overstand.
Yes, for sure. And so how can we love on you? Can we support you?
Perfect. So you can find me on TikTok is my primary, at dear self 2 underscores wellness. You can also reach out to me via email, dearselfholisticwellness@gmail.com. But TikTok is honestly the best way to get a hold of me, the best way of seeing everything that I do and incorporate into my wellness practice personally, and also what I like to implement for my clients. But yeah, so reach out to me, guys. I would absolutely love to work with you. Dear Self Wellness is a company that cares about you from top to bottom, inside and out. Your healthcare, your self-care, and everything in between. So
Yes. And before we close out today, there's always one question that I love to ask our guests. And that is, with all of your lived experience and everything that you've seen, everything that you've been through, what would you tell the little Tamara?
That's so funny because I am a firm believer in writing letters to yourself, hence the name of the company, Dear Self. But I would tell her, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You are living the life that you've always dreamed of. You are doing the best you can with the resources that you have at your disposal. I am proud of you and I love you for it.
And we love her too.
Thank you. Thank you. She needs all the love.
Yes, I want to thank you so much for being here today. I loved our conversation today. As someone who has been on and off the road of the physical fitness journey, the information that you shared today meets people exactly where they are, and that they are able to implement small changes in their life to get to where it is that they want to be. So I want to thank you for that. And thank you for the work that you're doing. I always say in this field, as practitioners or trainers or coaches, we are always working on ourselves. And if we can continue to be the best version of ourselves, that is our biggest marketing tool, right? So thank you for being here, and thank you everyone for tuning in to this episode, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.